That sourdough bread sitting on your counter has 0 probiotics in it. Not one. The oven killed every single bacterium inside, and yet researchers found it still lowers blood sugar more than regular bread. The real reason has nothing to do with living bacteria, and everything to do with what happened in the hours before it was baked. If you are over 40, this matters more than you think. Most people assume sourdough is healthier because it contains good bacteria, like yogurt or kimchi. The moment bread hits an oven at over 400 degrees, every microorganism inside it dies. So why does sourdough behave differently inside your body? The answer is something called pre-digestion, and it starts long before the bread reaches your plate. Think of it like marinating a steak. You would never throw a tough cut of beef straight onto a grill and expect tenderness. You let the marinade break down the fibers over time, and that creates a different eating experience, even though you started with the same piece of meat. Sourdough fermentation is doing the same thing to bread. Instead of a marinade, bacteria and wild yeast slowly tear apart the flour's structure over hours. And just like marinating, the magic is not in the final cooking step. It is in the waiting. That slow breakdown is what changes everything. That slow breakdown is what changes everything about how your body handles it. In conventional bread, a single strain of factory yeast inflates the dough in about 90 minutes. It is fast, cheap, and efficient. In sourdough, over 70 different species work together over 8 to 24 hours, slowly dismantling the flour from the inside out. During that long fermentation, a few things happen that never occur in regular bread. The bacteria produce organic acids that physically change the starch. They force it to bind tightly with proteins, creating what is called resistant starch, a form your digestive system cannot break apart quickly. Instead of flooding your bloodstream with sugar in minutes, it trickles in slowly over hours. One study found that the glycemic index of white bread dropped from 72 to about 54. This happens when made with sourdough fermentation, moving it from high to low glycemic range. The fermentation also produces acetic acid, which is essentially vinegar. This slows down how quickly food leaves your stomach. Researchers confirmed this by tracking how fast food moved through people who ate sourdough versus regular bread. The sourdough group's digestion was measurably slower, and in this case, slower is better. It means a steadier, more gradual release of energy instead of a spike and crash. Now here's the part that does not get enough attention. Flour contains a compound called phytic acid that acts like a lock on your minerals. It grabs onto magnesium, zinc, and iron and refuses to let your body absorb them. 8 hours of sourdough fermentation breaks most of those locks open. Your body suddenly has access to minerals that were trapped inside the bread the whole time. If you have noticed that bread seems to hit different now than it did in your 20s, it is not a discipline problem, and it is not about willpower. A few things are genuinely changing inside your body at the same time, and they are all making bread harder to deal with. For starters, your cells are getting less responsive to insulin. The same slice of white bread that barely registered when you were 25 now creates a bigger spike. A review of clinical trials found that sourdough bread reduced blood sugar responses compared to other breads. And here's the interesting part. The strongest effects showed up in people over 50. Those people already had some degree of insulin resistance. So the people who need the most help with blood sugar are the ones who benefit the most. On top of that, your stomach acid production drops as you age. This means you are absorbing fewer minerals from your food, even when your diet has not changed. Nearly half of adults over 40 are not getting enough magnesium. And magnesium is not just some obscure mineral. It is directly involved in how your cells respond to insulin. Less magnesium means worse blood sugar control. It is a cycle that quietly picks up speed without most people noticing, and they chalk it up to just getting older. Your gut is changing too. People with blood sugar problems tend to have less diversity. People with blood sugar problems tend to have less diversity in their gut bacteria. Sourdough bread, even though it has no living bacteria in it, promotes short-chain fatty acids. Builds the cells lining your gut wall and strengthens the barrier. It has been shown to improve how your body handles insulin. You are not adding new bacteria to your system. You are feeding the ones that are already there. And that distinction matters more than most people realize. Now here is where things get frustrating. Most sourdough bread sold in grocery stores is not real sourdough. There is no legal definition of the word. Anyone can slap it on a label. Manufacturers use regular yeast to make bread rise quickly. Add vinegar for a sour taste and call it sourdough. That bread has none of the benefits we just talked about. The resistant starch never formed. The mineral locks never opened. You are paying extra for a flavor trick. So how do you tell the difference? It is actually pretty simple once you know what to look for. Flip it over and read the ingredients. If you see yeast, vinegar, ascorbic acid, or sugar in any form, walk away. Real sourdough is just flour, water, salt, and culture. The crumb structure is a giveaway too. Real sourdough has irregular, messy air pockets of different sizes. Fake sourdough looks uniform, like sandwich bread that got a tan. Once you start checking labels, you will be surprised how many popular brands fail. We should be straight about something. The science here is promising, but it is not a slam dunk. A major review found that the overall quality of evidence is still considered low. More than half of studies comparing sourdough to white bread in healthy younger adults found no difference. The clearest benefits show up in people who already have some degree of insulin resistance, which describes a pretty large chunk of adults over 40. But your individual results will depend on your own body and your own gut bacteria. This is not a miracle food. It is a better option for people who eat bread. It is a better option for people who are going to eat bread anyway. If you want to make this work for you, here is what the research points to. Look for bread made with at least 8 hours of fermentation. Whole grain sourdough gives you more benefit than white because of the extra fiber. And if you want to take it a step further, pair it with protein or fat. Eggs, cheese, avocado, and olive oil work well. That combination slows glucose absorption even further. Here is a simple trick that most people overlook. Eat your protein before your carbs. If you are having toast and eggs, eat the eggs first. Research suggests this can make a meaningful difference in how your blood sugar responds. Also, eat your bread earlier in the day. Your body handles carbohydrates better in the morning. And that difference becomes more noticeable after 40. And honestly, the best version of sourdough you can eat is the one you make yourself. A starter is nothing more than flour and water left to ferment. It costs almost nothing. A 24-hour home ferment will outperform anything you can buy at a store. Once you get the hang of it, it takes about 10 minutes of actual hands-on time. Not bad for bread that is genuinely working with your body instead of against it. What your body does with bread after 40 is different from what it did at 20. The same slice creates a bigger spike, extracts fewer minerals, and feeds a less diverse gut. Sourdough fermentation addresses all three of those changes. But only if it is real, and only if it was given enough time. It is not magic. It is just biology doing what it does when you give it enough hours. And after 40, your body notices the difference more than ever. If this changed how you think about bread, leave a comment and tell me. Are you going to start checking labels? I love reading every single one. And if you want more science-backed health lifestyle strategies designed for someone just like you, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next one. I'll see you in the next video.